Petr Yan puts on an absolute clinic against Deiveson Figueiredo, reminding people why he is one of the greatest to ever do it. It's UFC Macao recap coming up next on Fighting with Friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fighting with Friends, the undisputed African fighting podcast champion of the world. And speaking of champions, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today the reigning, defending, undisputed vegan champion of the world. That is, of course, Brother Guy.
Number one.
Welcome back, BG.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Keeping it professional this Monday morning. And speaking of professional, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us this morning officially now the winner of the CPS BMF Contender Series.
There we go.
Professional record now 12-0. It's Nazim Al Nino, aka.
Yes, sir. Good morning, boys. How are we doing today?
Morning,
How are we
good
feeling?
morning. That is a Monday morning.
Fresh on a Monday.
Feeling fresh on a Monday. Speaking for yourself there, BG. But anyway. Boys, we were of course live for the event. So if you'd like to check out our live reaction to some of the quite spectacular knockouts that we saw on the card, you can check that out on our page. But it was, of course, UFC Macao. And boys, as always, we start at the top of the card where we saw Petr Yan remind people why he is one of the greatest to ever do it. So, BG, is that a fair statement, Petr Yan? Absolute clinic here.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to describe it, Eddie. Just because I feel like people have forgotten a little bit of Petr Yan, if we're being honest, because he has been slightly quiet. One fight since the O'Malley fight, so there's been a lot of silence on his part, and that kind of made the fans go, where's our guy at? But I do think that the hardcore fans kind of always knew, you know what I mean? Like this guy's a dog. I really enjoyed the fight. I thought it was competitive towards the end of round 4 and definitely round 5. But I do think rounds 1 to 3, Petr Yan kind of showed the world. Listen, like I'm still that guy. You know what I mean? I haven't gone. He's only 31 years old. I thought he was a lot older than that. So for me, it's like, okay, he's actually hitting that position in his life now where it's almost going to be undeniable. It really is undeniable, but I feel like he's going to be a lot more in and around the fights, because I do personally feel, I spoke about the evolution. Are we going to get to see the evolution? And I think he showed it, because Deiveson Figueiredo has got one of the best grappling we've seen in the UFC. We know how relentless he is and how much power he has in those grappling exchanges. And Petr Yan kind of showed the evolution in terms of how he was able to defend those takedowns, reverse some of them, and also then put his stamp on it in terms of like, I can also go out there initially if I wanted to, because he took Deiveson down actually. And we also knew that his stand-up was going to be better. And I thought one of the key things that I took away from the fight was the elite striking that Petr Yan has, because what he did phenomenally in the fight was whenever Deiveson switched the stance, Petr Yan switched to the opposite stance. That's very unique. That was very unique of him to do, and especially when I was saying he's going to throw a high kick and then into an uppercut or a high kick into a right straight, and that's what he threw every time Deiveson switched to southpaw. Petr Yan switched to southpaw, and then he just threw. Petr Yan switched to orthodox, he switched to southpaw, and then he could throw a high kick all the time. And I thought that was wonderful, because usually guys switch to accommodate the other stance. Petr Yan was like, I'm going to go opposite every single time, and it worked for him phenomenally throughout the fight. But you have to give props to Deiveson to make it competitive, because he did that. He was the first person, I think, recorded in the UFC to have dropped Petr Yan. He did it in the 4th round. And remember, we were like, oh no, he got dropped. And we're like, yes, is this going to be the time where we're going to see Petr Yan get knocked out? But I mean, he fought back, and then he went back into the 5th round and then stamped his name once again. But I think overall, for me, overall it was an amazing main event. And the way you just
Mute.
Yeah, sorry, Mike just died. I feel like that was one of the best ways to take away from the fight was Petr Yan showcasing the elite striker and also the evolution of his MMA game. Because I don't think if he had fought the way he fought the weight to calling Marab out would have been there. You know what I mean? Because now I'm actually keen to see the fight because he can grapple now, and I do think he's strong enough to be able to match anyone in the bantamweight division with strength. So it's just a matter of can he stop the relentlessness takedown of someone like Marab or even Umar Nurmagomedov. But in a nutshell, masterful performance from Petr Yan.
Nicely done, BG. So yeah, that's a very interesting question, I think, and I'll go to Babu for that one. Babu, do you see Petr Yan beating Merab?
I feel more confident after this performance. Like that, the fight would be way more competitive. I think before this fight, I thought the fight between Marab and Petr Yan would go the same way the fight between Aljo and Petr Yan would have went, where where Marab would have just looked for the takedown, took him down, held him down, and then just basically grind him out for a decision win and just dominate the fight. I think after this performance, I agree with all BG's points, but one thing that also stood out to me was Petr Yan's gas tank, because I have seen him like fade sometimes, and it might just be from like just conditioning purposes. But even in this fight, I thought Figueiredo's body work was on point. He landed some good body shots in the second, the third, and the fourth. And I think that's what set up for the drop in the fourth as well. And to see that body work go into Petr Yan, and then for him to still be like game to grapple, to stand on the feet, to keep going forward, to still match Figgy in every step of the way. I felt like Petr Yan has grown leaps and bounds like in his fighting journey. So if he does get a title shot, I'll feel more confident that the matchup would be like competitive, and it's not really like a walkover for Marab.
You know what, Babu? Can I step in quickly? I with a comment onto that gas tank with in terms of Petr Yan, I've actually always felt he was conditioned really well. If you watch a lot of his fights, he was able to really go the distance with anybody really, and not really look tired. But when he did look tired, was the fights where he fought against Aljo second time and Marab, because he was a fish out of water when it came to the wrestling game, and that was draining him a lot. He didn't know what to do. He was spending a lot of energy to kind of not get tapped out. You know what I mean? Instead of reversing the position, he just didn't want to get tapped out, and that was really depleting him a lot, because you could see when he got to round 4 and 5 against Aljo and Marab, he didn't look like he was the same person, because the grappling exchanges is grueling, dude. That takes a lot out of any fighter, and I think he showed in this fight that he's conditioned and he's ready to go again. He's ready to take on these wrestlers. He's ready for it. He's like, come, let's go, let's fight.
Yeah, because I think there was a certain narrative coming into the fight. It was as to how he was going to get it done. He was going to have the superior gas tank. Because that was the narrative coming into the fight, is that Petr Yan tends to get stronger as the rounds go on. So yeah, I mean, it did show. But I think to your point there, BG, I think also, like you said, having to deal with people like Merab and guys who have this wrestling heavy approach, it's a different kind of fitness, man. It's not just now moving around and striking. So possibly he could have been mildly exposed there in that situation against Merab, but flawless on the night, bro. Flawless on the night.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And also, we always thought his striking was good, eh? We always knew it was really good, let's be honest. But like, he looked even more. It was just another level he added to it, because the way how comfortable he switched, the way he was measuring Deiveson, because Deiveson was longer reach than him, but he was measuring Deiveson so well. And I think also, Babu, I like that he brought up that fact that Deiveson was landing to the body. I thought he was doing phenomenally with that body shots as well. Those kind of shots can make people stop moving, because he was landing perfectly into the stomach. He was liver shot like perfectly, and Yan didn't look like it hurt him. He just went move forward. You know what I mean? I was like, yay, this guy really Petr Yan looked even more jacked than he did before. So I think he's gone up a level personally, and I'm excited to see what he does next.
Yeah, so Petr Yan definitely puts himself now very much into the title conversation. So what do you think is next? Is he going to get the winner of Merab? Is Merab Nurmagomedov, has that been made?
It's not confirmed.
Not
It's not
confirmed.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So
he
he
doesn't
could
have a
But
potentially
opponent.
be
also,
fighting for the title in his next fight.
I don't know about Nurmagomedov because he's. I think Nurmagomedov only fought Standhagen.
Mm,
That's like really in and around like top 5 in the
that's
scene.
true. That's true.
But
That's definitely
on a
yeah.
18 fight, he is on an 18 fight win streak, and like he- to the win streak is there, but like we haven't seen him being tested in and around that top 5. So that is a bit like does he deserve the title shot? And then also like what you don't want to overlook a 18 fight win streak and be like, oh, okay, you're Peter Yan, here's your shot. But I do see Marab calling for the Peter Yan fight.
Yes,
So
yes.
we'll see what the
Well, we
UFC
know
does.
that. We know that Merab has been avoiding Umar the whole time. Like we know this. This is not a secret for the whole world can see it. The UFC even tried to put it together at the O'Malley fight with Merab when they panned to Umar and Magomedov at the end of the fight. And Umar was like, "Come, let's go," and Merab was like, "Oh, I don't want to fight him." You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's going to come down to see what UFC and Merab come to in some kind of agreement because we know what Umar wants. He wants to fight for the title next. And Babu, that's a very good point. He's 18-0. It's very difficult to ignore those things. And I do think the UFC is probably going to make that fight happen. And then they're probably going to have Petr Yan wait for it. Because I don't know if they're going to go to Petr Yan and O'Malley next. I think the fans want to see, and that's been in conversation amongst the fighters themselves. O'Malley did it on his podcast, possibly fighting Sandhagen next. And that could be the fight that's actually going to be made. That would leave Petr Yan, there in the background waiting for it, which I don't think will be a problem. But I wouldn't want it to happen for him because he's hot at the moment. He's 31. Now is the time for him to go. Don't wait any longer. Chandler waited 2 years and look how cold he looked in the fight. So I wouldn't want him to just sit around. I would want him to. If it means that they put Magomedov and Marab up against each other, and O'Malley is probably going to wait 8 months. He said he wants to wait 8 months before he fights again. That means Sandhagen's the only other person next for Yan to fight. He's going to have to fight him again. Unfortunately, you know that's probably what's going to happen.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much stock you guys put into rankings, but Umar is number 2. And for me, he did beat the guy who was the next on for the title in Sandhagen. I felt like that was a title decider at the time, title eliminator at the time.
I agree.
So I think give him the shot, but I would like to see it.
Yes.
For Petr Yan, it's tough. I'd even just give him the winner of the title then, bro. If he's wanting to sit out, if he wants to take another fight, you give him Sandhagen or O'Malley. I'm sure he'll want to get the Sugar Sean one back.
Yeah, me too.
So,
I also feel like you would like to get that one back.
Yeah, but let us know in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, your thoughts on what you think is the best way forward for this division now. It's shaping up very well. I'm not sure what Henry Cejudo is still doing ranked up there, but yeah.
What do you guys think about Figgy then?
Yeah, that was my next question. I think you should fight Henry Cejudo, bro.
I like the sound of that.
Henry Cejudo coached him at one stage, remember, for that Moreno fight. So that could be quite
that fight. I would love that fight, actually.
I mean, he just beat Chito Vera before this, so it's like there's not really much else going on, bro. Song it on the front. Yeah.
I was thinking more Mario Batista because he's also coming off a loss.
No, Batista won his loss.
Beat Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
He beat Jose. Nah, but he won on like by the judges, but in the fight, like Aldo won that fight.
Yeah, in the streets he lost the fight.
He
he won the fight. But yeah, so that might be a good fight, Batista and Figueiredo. Up and come on, the guy who just lost now. So yeah, but I'm not sure if Deiveson, like, how motivated is he now to keep fighting? You know what I mean? Because this was his run at the title. Like,
that's our fault as well.
What would be his track back now, bro? I probably have to go on like a 3-4 fight win streak now.
He did say that he doesn't want to call it. He did say he wants to come back, and because he obviously feels like he can do it. I mean, Deiveson, what is his age to be exact? I'm pretty sure he's like past 35 already, or could be on 35. So
yeah, he's up there, bro.
What's his age?
36.
36. Look there.
So he's probably got another 2 years before, and in that 2 years, if he loses again, he's probably thinking, because now you fought against someone that's in the contention for a title. So the goal was to beat someone like that, so you can really make a shot at the title. Now you lost against someone who was the former champion. It kind of makes you rethink your strategy now, because you're like, that was the guy I was supposed to beat to go up there, and I didn't. Now you look around you, Petr Yan has lost to the other guys around you in that top 5. So it's like, you know what I mean? You're probably rethinking that now. Can I go and call up someone above me again? You know, can I call out Cody Sane again? That's the question. And is the UFC going to give that to him? We don't know. I'd like the sound of Vinny Cejudo, because it's a high profile fight. It's a big name. You know what I mean? That would sell out more and put the biggest stamp on Figueiredo's name, rather than fighting against someone like Song Yadong, for example, or Chito Vera, who now lost 2 in his last 2 fights. Rob Font also took a beating. So it's like, Mario Batista, because he's up and coming, but I think Deiveson smokes Mario Batista with ease. That's how I would
Okay,
say
so
maybe Vinny Cejudo probably.
I was thinking about this. So if Deiveson fights Cejudo, like, and Deiveson wins the fight, but it goes like 5 rounds, and then we're like, oh, Deiveson look good, yeah, but Cejudo's also old. Where I'm thinking, if he goes against Batista, brutal knockout of Batista, then he calls out somebody in and around that top 5. If he gets the win in and around that top 5, you can call out the champion again. Instead of fighting Cejudo, they're saying, oh, it went to decision. Now you have to fight another fight and then go into like, oh, what am I looking at?
So you put
But
him
that's
placing more
assuming
stock.
that he's gonna finish Batista. Because if he
Exactly.
knocks
Yeah, I think
Cejudo out, then it's a vital KO, and then it's like, you know, you can
oh,
pull out
That was
someone.
more weight.
Same.
That was,
that,
But I guess the takeaway is that his path to the title might not be as long as we think.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I
anyway,
agree.
lots to discuss here, ladies and gentlemen. As always, let us know in the comments. But boys, we do have some other fights we need to get to here.
Indeed.
And here we did see also Yan Shonan absolute clinic against Tabata Ricci. Yeah, just quite frustrating to watch from my end, I would say personally. Played out
Yeah.
exactly the way I didn't want to see it play out. Barbara, from your side, bro.
yo, bruh, this could not be a worse co-main, bruh. Are you nuts, bro? This fight, I wanted to like just hear from matchmakers, like, in this fight, how did they think it was gonna go? Like, did they expect Tabata Ricci just to get inside Yan Shanan and then like grapple her? Or did they think that Yan Shanan was just gonna do this and pick her off and get a knockout at some point? But in terms of the fight itself, like, it was poor. It was poor. It wasn't entertaining. There was nothing that really got me out of my seat and was like, oh, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, this fight is on in the background. Oh, yeah. Oh, Yan Shanan won. Great stuff. We move forward. But like, there was nothing in this fight that was like, like I can see like why either fighter comes out of this with more stock. I think both fighters sit at. I think Tabata Ricci stock drops a bit, but I think Yan Shanan's stock stays where it is. It doesn't go up, and that's unfortunate because if she had to get a finish like within the first 2 rounds, we could have been like, oh, you know what, the stock is rising. She could be looking for that rematch against Wiley. But now I'm like, oh, maybe fight one more and then get Wiley. Maybe Tatiana Suarez is the one that I'm looking more at, like getting the shot now, because you haven't like really put any doubt in my mind that you're not gonna get, like, you don't deserve the next shot. Like that performance doesn't deserve like to skip somebody above you.
Yeah.
Fair point. Fair point. Yeah, and BG, I think you also mentioned Tatiana Suarez over the weekend.
Yes.
Do you
I
think that
stand by
Yan
that.
Shunan should fight her next, or what are your thoughts on that?
Because Wiley doesn't have an opponent. He
I
doesn't
don't
have
think so.
anyone lined
No.
up at the moment. Um, I think that's probably what's going to be best, not only for the UFC but also for Yan Chanan and Tatiana Suarez, is have them actually go up against each other and then fight Whaley. Just because Tatiana hasn't been as active as I would like to be, but when she is active, she just goes out there and beats people like with ease. And I've watched her throughout the Ultimate Fighter, and that no one has been able to stop her yet. So I'm quite intrigued to see her compete against those top two in Weili and Shannon. But bringing it back to this fight, I can understand the frustration from the boys. I mean, it's from any of the fight fans, because it was a weird fight. Like Babu said, like what did they expect was the result going to be? And I want to also hold Shannon accountable for it. You can't stand in the middle of the octagon and not chase your opponent down and then say point, and get upset and point. Go fucking fight her. Go towards her. We know she's dodging you the whole time. And it's bad on her look. So what? It's bad on Tabitha's look. You're making it worse by just standing still and saying point, come fight me. She's not going to do that because you outmatched her. You're stronger than her. You out wrestle her. You outbox her. So it's not her fault for trying to dodge you. We know that's how Tabitha Ricci fights. So she always fights that way. She's either the one that goes for it and wins on points, or she's the one that evades. She doesn't want to get knocked out, so she evades. She's only been tapped out. She's never been knocked out. She's always just been trying to avoid people. So that's your opponent. So I would expect Shannon, especially because you want to go get a title shot again, go after her, cut the cage off. She's trying to dodge, cut the cage off, take her down, and she can't run away from you. Elbow her because you are stronger than her. You know you can wrestle her as well, but instead you want to try and knock her out. Don't fall for the traps that she's creating for you. Go out there, get a bar, knock her, and we'll give you a title shot next. No, just go and beat her. Fight your fight. Go and beat her. You will eventually get the finish because you are stronger than what she is. So you knew it. Every time Tabitha did try and get in to try and box with her, Tabitha's eyes went like this because she got tagged back and she was like, nah, let me stay out of that. So you know what I mean? So I do want to hold Shannon accountable for that because the fight was set up for her to go out there and get the performance that the UFC wanted her to get so they can put her up against Weili again, maybe even Tatiana Suarez. But she didn't do enough, in my opinion, to go and get that. I don't like when fighters complain about other fighters when they dance around the octagon. Like, they're dancing because they're scared of getting knocked out. That's why they're not engaging with you. So then you go there and make the engagement. Force it on her.
Yeah.
Make her fight you. And you didn't do any of that. And I wasn't impressed with that kind of thing. But I was impressed when they did kind of get caught into the car accidents and they were exchanging. So Shannon did look good in those moments. But there wasn't enough of those moments for me to go, that was a masterful performance. I want to see her do it again. So yeah, in the overall theme, I expect more from both of them. And this Babu Ricci's stock did go down, unfortunately, after that performance, where Shannon also didn't put enough to raise it even further. She also stays exactly where she is.
Yeah, agreed. So Tabitha Ricci obviously having to fight down now, I imagine. I'm not sure, especially after a performance like that. It'd probably be good for her to kind of take a step back and maybe just get some like octagon time in against like lower level opponents, just to kind of figure out the game plan, bro. Because like you guys said, there was just no kind of indication as to how she was going to win the fight.
Nothing.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments your thoughts on that one. But boys, we'll keep it moving. And here we had quite a short fight. We saw Muslim Salikov finish Song Kenan in the first round with only 3 minutes and 49 seconds on the clock. Quite a spectacular one there. Very short fight, so BG. I'm not sure if there's much that you can tell us here besides the spectacular finish.
I mean, it was spectacular. Just before I go back on that, last thing I'll say on Tabitha Ricci, I know we moved on from it, but the last thing I'll say from her is maybe go down, maybe just go down away to flyweight, where you can match people that's a little bit your size. Same reach as well. No one's going to be that much taller than you. Maybe Alexa Grasso, Manon Fido. Maybe those women will be slightly taller than her and longer. But a lot of the women in that division are the same height, same length. So it might be a little bit more even. You know what I mean? Because Tabitha is of the smaller fighters of both strawweight and flyweight. So I think for her sake to actually do something significant in her career, maybe go down a division. But coming to this one in terms of Muslim and Song Kenan, exactly 80. Other than the spectacular spinning heel kick, again Song Kenan didn't do enough. Placed you in a position where you can go fight a 40-year-old man and rise your stock again, but didn't do enough of that. Yeah, he looked like he was jaded. He looked like every time he threw a jab, it was struggling to even lift his arm up to throw the jab. He couldn't see the movement of Muslim because Muslim was attacking his legs first with low kicks, threw a body kick a few times, and setting up that spinning heel kick. It was beautiful actually because he did it as Song Kenan was coming towards him, and then he just span, have it. And it was spectacular, but I wouldn't go as far as to say as performance of the night for Muslim Salikov, just because the fight, there wasn't enough, man. You know what I mean? There wasn't enough from Song Kenan to roll that out of Muslim, to bring it out of him and say, oh, I'm now backed up in the corner, or this guy's pressuring me to the point where I have to do something now because if I don't, Sankanan's going to chow me up. None of that had happened. It wasn't even a competitive fight. So I would kind of retract that performance of the night bonus and maybe give it to someone like Gabriela Fernandez, or she did get it actually. Give it to someone like Petr Yan for putting on a 5-star performance against a former champion in Deiveson Figueiredo. I would maybe have done that.
Yeah, look, I think at this point, the UFC are just giving performance bonuses to anyone who can get a finish, bro, just because finishes have been in such short supply. So kind of trying to incentivize that as much as possible, I think. Again, a very short one here, Babu. Anything you want to add before we keep moving?
Nah, just a great performance from a 40-year-old king of Kung Fu, bruh. Hey, good living up to the name, getting the knockout, bro.
Nicely done by Muslim Salikov, indeed. Also nicely done. We had the biggest dog on the card here, the parlay breaker Gabriela Fernandez. She picked up a second round submission against Wang Kong. Wang Kong, as I mentioned on the live stream, of course, beat Valentina Shevchenko in a kickboxing fight back in 2015. So yeah, shocked the world here basically. Babu, what can you tell us here, bro?
This deserved to be like co-main because we thought this fight was going one way and it took a turn within a matter of 30 seconds. I think Wang Kong was really putting a stamp on that first round, and then coming out in that second, she felt a bit frustrated. I think she wanted a bit more reaction out of Gabby, and Gabby wasn't giving it. And Gabby landed like, I think it was a left straight that just put Wang on the back foot. And before Wang even knew what day it was, Gabby was in for that submission, and it was GG's because she wrapped it up quick, fast. She took her back, got to the neck, and yeah, GG's. And like, I think it was just a beautiful performance from Gabby. I don't know if that was the game plan, but if it was just to frustrate her, then that was a solid performance. I think if the game plan was not to frustrate her, maybe look at the stand up a bit more. Let's not play that game for so long. Try and like maybe just get in and out and get to clinches and work a takedown perhaps. But then again, she does carry like that power that puts people, that puts a person down and then gives you that opportunity to finish the fight. So amazing performance. I am so regretful that I didn't put a bet down on her because I could have been laughing to the bank because she was the biggest dog in the squad, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely. PG?
Yeah, Babu, it was one of those things, man. You know, we didn't know much about who they were, other than the fact the way it was promoted to us that Wang was going to be the one that's going to make the show, you know, light up the whole stage for us because she's this phenomenal boxer and she just looks so great and she's scary to fight against. She's got the Joker face and she's got this character and like, why wouldn't you want to put your stock in her? I remember when we were doing the preview, I was saying go with Wang because I mean she's a very very good boxer. But I was like, I hope that Gabriela goes in and submits her in the first round because that would just be amazing if she does that. Because she got it in the second round, but still. I think the way you described Wang being a little frustrated, I think that was a perfect description because I could see it towards the end of the first round, even that she was landing on Gabriela, but none of it was perturbing her at all. It didn't throw Gabby off any game. She could see she was a bit shook because she was like, oh my word, and she kept putting the right hand out because she fights from the southpaw stance. And Wang had this habit of grabbing Gabriela's left hand, like literally grabbing it, holding onto it, and then punching from there every single time. And I thought, like, you're even letting your own defense go away to hit this woman, and it wasn't working. And then that's, I think, what set up also Gabby's clean counter. You can actually see it in the picture areas on the screen. You could see that they were actually literally just disengaged their front hands, left and right hands, to disengage each other. And that's when Gabriela threw her left straight. So that means Wang had no defense for it. You know what I mean? And landed so cleanly and sunk in that rear naked choke. And Wang didn't even tap out. She just went to sleep. Wang, sorry, just tapped out and went straight to sleep there. So, yeah, I think that was a well-deserved performance of the night. You could see the frustration on the one fighter's side and also the lack of patience because she was rushing it. She was really rushing to get that finish. And I think that set her up for that failure. Whereas Fernandez was trying to survive that first round and like, listen, I still got a chance. I agree with you, Babu. I think that she can maybe not stay standing for too long. What I would like for her to do is actually try and stand and work on the striking because I think the jiu-jitsu looks very, very good for me. She went into that back so quickly, chunk up that choke so fast. So I think the jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. I just want to maybe see her work on what she's not good at, and that is the boxing part of it. And I think she can do that. She'll be a really good fighter for the UFC.
Fair play, BG. So both of these ladies, of course, unranked. So for Gabby Fernandez, do you think she's done enough for a ranked opponent, gentlemen? Babu, what are your thoughts there?
When I'm looking at the rankings, just out of recency, I'd say Karin Silva doesn't deserve that 12 spot because of the performance that she put in there. I think Gabby's performance was deserving of a ranked opponent. Karin Silva, Gabby, and if Gabby gets the win, she goes into the top 15. If Karin Silva wins, she holds a spot in the top 15 and she shows that she's deserving of the top 15 spot. Yeah, I just think like Gabby definitely needs like somebody in and around that top 15 just because like after that performance, like you have to get some sort of a reward. And then for Wang, I'm not sure what you do with her. I think like maybe you give her like you tee up another opponent to put on like a showcase fight and see what she does. If she can get that first round was looking good for her, and if she can get like some spectacular knockout or finish, then we can chat and look at like getting you somebody in that top 15 and working your way into like top 10, top 5. Because I can see like the UFC wanna try and get like more diversity within that championship group. And they have one Chinese fighter as a champion, and they could potentially have two. This Wang just needs to work on a bit more of a skill set.
Yeah, I agree. Like kick a bit more and be more patient with your strikes, and don't like rush it so much.
Yeah, a lot of good points there, Babu. I think I also do like the Karin Silva fight, the way you motivated for that. I'm glad to agree there. But okay, boys, any final thoughts before we move to the light heavyweight bout?
I don't personally feel like either of them should get any top 15 fighters, to be honest. I feel like they should get another tee-up fight, someone outside of the rankings again. I know Karin Silva's performance was absolutely shit, and I wouldn't be surprised if she drops that ranking. I know they dropped it to 12. I would drop it to 15. Not out of the top 15, I'll drop it to the 15th. And give Gabriel Fernandez, because this is both of their fights, this was their debuts, Gabriel and Wang, this was their debut fight. So I both think fair is fair. Give them both someone outside the top 15 again, and then maybe go up to the top 15 after that.
All right, fair BG. Let us know in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, your thoughts on that one. But okay, we're going to keep moving to the light heavyweight division here, where we saw Carlos Ulberg defeat Volkan Oezdemir by unanimous decision. BG, you were one of the few people, I think, who thought this one was going to go the distance, and it did. What are your thoughts on the fight as a whole?
Yeah, I thought it was competitive. I know. Based on both guys, you would think that it would have gone not the distance. I would have liked Volkan Oezdemir to have wrestled from the first round. Actually, I just make Ulberg think about all these things, not just take boxing, because I think Ulberg expected Volkan to come in there and kind of knock him out, because that's what Volkan always does. But I would have loved for Volkan to introduce the full array of martial arts, because Ulberg was looking for that kind of fight. He was happy that the fight stood the way it did, because he doesn't want to wrestle, dude. This guy just wants to stand with you the whole time. You know what I mean? And kudos to Carlos to have lasted the fight and did enough to win it. He didn't take enough. He didn't really take any damage. He was dishing out the damage. He moved really phenomenally around the octagon, stayed out of danger for the majority of that fight. And you can't what's the word? You can't put the asterisks on the person for performing that way. You know what I mean? Tabitha, she tried it and she didn't get it right because she wasn't landing anything. Whereas Carl Ulberg did exactly what was necessary. Moved out of the way, landed where he needed to land. He got Volkan thinking twice about how he needed to enter. He got Volkan trying to wrestle in the third round. which obviously was a sign that Volkan knew he was losing the fight at that point. So you have to almost give props to the fighter who was doing the necessary stuff to make himself win that fight. But in a nutshell, not that impressed with both of the gentlemen. Just because I felt that Volkan came in there with more experience and didn't use that experience, whereas Carlos Ulberg came in with all the power, but he fought like someone that didn't want to actually get hurt. He fought like someone that, let me put in a clean performance so I can come out of here and still, look pretty flawless. And yeah, that's just my perception of how the fight went. One guy was chasing, didn't get there, and the other guy was just fighting very cleanly and won the fight in a very clean manner, which is Carlos Ulberg.
Agreed. Babu, from your side, bro?
I think performance-wise, I think like in terms of the fight itself, it was okay. I don't think either fighter put on a showcase. I think the fight had a lot of stop-start, engage, stop-start, engage, stop-start, engage. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a great win for Ulberg. Keeps his train rocking. He's put on knockout, and now he goes to decision with somebody in the top 10. So it shows that he is
growing.
He's growing, and he's deserved to be within the top 10. And now you can look at somebody like Khalil Roundtree or Alexander Rakic, and he can say like, hey, let me bang against them, and he can make a run at the title. I think he's like maybe two fights away from getting a title shot, depending on his path. But I think it was a great performance from him in terms of just getting the win. I think the performance of the fight itself, like I said, a very subpar.
Okay. Fair. Sorry, I've just I didn't think you were finished speaking then. I thought you were gonna say some more. Okay, now fair point. Yeah, I think he did exactly what he needed to do.
Yes.
Volkan stuff, bro. So
exactly.
Sometimes you need a test like that to, show that you're more than just a knockout artist.
I do feel like if he had put his foot to the floor a little bit more often, he probably could have gotten Volkan out of there in round 2. Honestly, I just think he was a little bit hesitant. Yeah, he was a bit hesitant in some of the exchanges, and he could have, because he had Volkan rocked twice in that fight, and he could have actually put his foot down, not to even get the finish, but to put some heavy damage on him. So Volkan needs to really think about how he needs to approach now. I felt like he was just being very clean in that fight. Like, don't get hit, hit him, don't get hit, hit him again, and he did that for most of the fight.
PG, do you agree with Babu's kind of sentiments regarding Carlos's route to the title?
Yeah, I do think maybe 2. Yeah, I also agree. 2 fights, and then he can make a shout. I think I don't know if he's gonna get Khalil Roundtree because of Khalil Rountree's injury. I do think that will be the next best opponent for him, but I feel like that's not gonna happen because of Khalil Rountree's injury. He might take a while to come back. I like that Nikita Krylov is still in that top 10 rankings because he's been there longer than Volkan. He was in the UFC for long, and Gustafsson times he was there for so long, and he's still in it. Even before Gustafsson, he's been in the UFC. So to see him in number 6 is wonderful and masterful to actually for Nikita to be in that position. So I feel like he's probably going to get Nikita Krylov next, because that's another opponent like Volkan in terms of history, experience. You beat this guy, it's a big cap under your feather. So Rakic, because of a loss, I think Rakic will be the next opponent after Nikita Krylov. If he beats Nikita Krylov, he's definitely, especially because Nikita Krylov is the kind of fighter that will do what Volkan didn't do. He's going to be in your face. He'll put you in a crucifix. He's going to make it a fight that's ugly. He's not. Krylov is not going to like it because it's not going to be the kind of fight where you can just dance around left to right, being chased around often. Because how many times did Carlos move? Did he move in a circle in that fight against Volkan? He was circling the whole fight. So I think Nikita's not going to allow that to happen. Nikita will grab a limb, he'll grab your wrist, and he'll pull you into guard very quickly. And I like that kind of style of him. So it's a style fight that Carlos has never fought yet. And I feel like that's the next best thing for UFC to make. Put him up against someone that can most likely take him down and keep him there and maybe even tap him out very quickly. Nikita Krylov is the guy for me.
Babu, final thoughts here, bro?
Not just a good performance from, I think, the Ulberg coming out of that city kickboxing. Just keep the train moving, bro. Keep the train moving.
Fair. All right, boys. Next up, we go to our final bout here on the card, light heavyweight bout, where we saw another early night for Zhang Yang here. He, of course, knocked out Aussie Diaz in the first round, only 2 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock. So this was the heartbreaker for you, Babu. I'll let you handle this one for us, please, bro.
Yeah, bro, I felt like Aussie Diaz. Like, I looked up his record. I was like, he looks good, man. And then he came out. I was like, yo, I was agreeing with Jedi there on the stream. I was saying like, yeah, he does look like Cain Velasquez. He does look like he's a nice, active fighter. Keeps moving, keeps like circling, looking for his angles, and then yeah, he just got caught. Zhang was the fight. It seemed like the theme of the night where you saw fighters just load up on shots, and they weren't like really looking to make it move too much. They were looking at pointing it to the ground and showing like, let's see who has more power. And I felt like Zhang loaded up and caught Aussie on the fucking chin, and it was GG's, and it was good night, Aussie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say too much. The performance wasn't that long. I wouldn't have given it performance of the night
Exactly.
personally. Good knockout. I mean, saying I can't say your exciting prospect, and Aussie Diaz, I can't say you know what, that was a bad performance. Like, you got caught. It's unfortunate, unlucky, man.
Yeah, go like that. Go like that.
Especially in these weight classes that are so heavy. Like, these guys don't have to do 5 rounds of like putting on the moosey performance of martial arts and out wrestling, scrambling, getting up to submissions. One gets knocked down, the other one gets knocked down. These guys don't do that. It's one shot, you're dead. That's how these guys fight.
Yeah. So both of these guys are unranked. What are your
I was
thoughts on the future of these two fighters, PG?
I can't really see much for Aussie Diaz. I mean, he had one fight on the contender season, he lost that fight. And he fought in the UFC, and he lost this fight as well. So it's, you know what I mean. And he lost in a very like quick fashion. So it's like you can't give a reflection on something that didn't last long enough for you to even say much. Because it went so short, the first thing comes to mind is like, yo, is this guy even good enough to be here? Which is not fair on the bad on Aussie Diaz, because the fights didn't go that long. For Zhang, you're like, okay, you got some power, you got some good boxing, you look creative, you got a fun energy about you. But also the fight is so quick, so all you can say is, okay, cool, knockout artist, let's put some stock into this guy. But then the next fight, he gets tapped out in the first 2 rounds, or he gets out wrestled, and like, oh boo, you know what I mean? So I don't want to give too much information or give too much thought into these two guys until I get to see a bit more of them.
Fair point. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree there. Babu, do you have any final thoughts on this one or these fighters in general?
Nah, just yeah, I'm probably not gonna see this one on the main card anytime soon.
Okay, boys. Then that about covers it. As far as UFC Macao goes, at the end of the stream, I did ask you guys to rate the card. PG, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think before we close off the show, we have to give a mention to Shi Ming as one of the dogs that we bet on for the weekend, because of her knockout, arguably his knockout of the night for me, and they just gave her performance of the night. But I think she should get performance and knockout of the night, because she was losing the fight round 1 and 2, went into the third round and kicked Feng into hospital technically. So we have to sort of make mention of that a little bit and give props to that performance.
Okay. Any other final thoughts, boys?
Yeah, I think for this card, I think it's a big lesson for a lot of us to learn that not to put so much stock into the hype that UFC puts into some of those guys, because they put hype in Namjagal lost. They put hype on Lonnie Kavanaugh, and Lenny Kavanaugh didn't look that great. Let's be honest. Even though he won, I was like, that's a very questionable performance for me.
All right, Babu, anything from your side, bro?
Just a tip of advice to the UFC, like the road to the UFC fights that got put on in terms of like the prelims, do more of it. I think like you see the anger from fighters, you see the determination to get a finish. I think just beyond China, like look at other regions and doing that. And I think you would get better cards. I think the score, like I said on stream, was like a 7, and it's just because of the road to the UFC fighters that was there. They put on a show. I think if you just look at that main card, it falls very flat. But like BG said, Shi Ming rescued that card technically, because if I think of that card, I think of her, and I think of that knockout, and I think of the other fighter just laying their stuff as a board.
Absolutely, yeah. Shout out to Shi Ming. And yeah, great card for me overall. Like I said, 7.5. I think you guys said 7, all around there. And yeah, I think fair point. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you have made it this far in the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for your continued love and support thus far. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. Other than that, have a fantastic week, and we will see you next time here on Fighting with Friends.